A 60-year modeling career should be impossible, and yet this is Marisa Berenson in 1966 in a Dior campaign, and this is Marisa Berenson 60 years later in a Valentino campaign. So how did something that should be impossible suddenly become possible? For a long time, fashion projected a very strict idea of the right age to be fashionable. In the 2000s especially, many modeling careers ended in their early 20s. Runways were dominated by extremely young faces, sometimes still in their mid-teens. And there was an interesting paradox. The models were extremely young, but the people actually buying luxury fashion were usually much older. The model was not meant to represent the customer. She represented an idealized fantasy of youth and beauty. The entire industry was built around that youthful fantasy. You can see it clearly in beauty advertising from the past as well. Faces were often so heavily retouched that even a single wrinkle could not appear. Under that system, a 60-year modeling career would have been impossible. But around the end of the 2000s, something started to change. Brands began bringing back familiar faces from the earlier decades. When Prada and D Squared brought back supermodels of the 1990s, it felt confusing for many. Some people loved it, but I also remember comments in online fashion communities like, "Why is that even needed? Is there suddenly a shortage of new faces?" A few years later, another conversation appeared everywhere in fashion media. Suddenly, everyone was talking about millennials. I remember one moment from that period very clearly. The appearance of that infamous distressed bubblegum look on the Chanel runway confused many fashion lovers. Some people felt almost offended, especially by the shoes. It didn't look like what Chanel had been doing before. At first, those moments looked unrelated, but they were pointing to the same shift. For decades, fashion had reinforced the idea that style belonged primarily to the young. Now, fashion has repositioned age as a tool of marketing, reaching both older and even younger audiences at once. Seen from that perspective, the presence of Marisa Berenson today no longer looks surprising. Her career began in the 1960s and quickly becoming one of the recognizable faces of fashion photography of that era. She also appeared in Valentino imagery in the 1960s. And now she appears again in Valentino campaign 6 decades later. Not by accident, but because the industry now finds value in figures who carry a long relationship with fashion. When I was younger, I honestly could not imagine discussing fashion with somebody even 20 years older than me. And fashion itself helped create that distance by constantly presenting youth as the only stage of life that matters. Today, I think it would be amazing to have a conversation with someone like Marisa Berenson. Just imagine how many fashion decades and cultural moments she has been a part of. Which makes the image we started with even more interesting. Marisa Berenson in 1966 and Marisa Berenson today. A 60-year presence in fashion, not only because she never left it, but because fashion itself changed the way it treats age. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.